Hi, how are you?
Right. We're doing great.
It's
Guys,
good.
welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got 17 people on the call and we're doing something pretty special. I even traveled all the way from Melbourne back to Tasmania just to do this call. I may be joking. That's that's just me trying to hype it up and talk about how awesome Ben is. But a lot of you guys know Ben. Ben has been part of our community for quite some time. He's also someone that is equally a massive part of this community and high level as a whole. I know that he contributes in massive ways. He always drops knowledge that I'm often taking notes from. And I know that he's always got the interest of others at mind when it comes to contribution and helping, which Ben and I connected more recently when he made a comment on one of these calls about a certain strategy. And I said, hey, that strategy that you spoke about, any chance that we could actually see what that looks like? And this is where the 10 by 10 strategy that we're talking about today has kind of come in. So this is something that's been created, I believe, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been made specifically to share with you guys today. So there has been some time and effort in preparing this, which just shows how much this guy cares about what he's doing in the community with us. So massive kudos for that, and massive thanks. And yeah, basically, I'm going to give you the floor, Ben. I'll keep an eye on the questions coming through and mark those out as we go along.
Excellent.
And keep things running from there. And FYI, guys, just so you know, in case you didn't notice, this is being recorded because this is going to be one of those awesome learnings that we'll have where we'll be able to keep this forever. No pressure, Ben. So
Nothing
that
like a
means
bit of pressure.
the right type.
Very cool. All right. So I'm going to do my best not to tell you all how to suck eggs. I know a lot of you are marketers, but marketing's been one of my passions for ever. And I think one of the things I remember years ago, I was a head global trainer for a franchise that was in many, many countries. And I used to go to Vegas and train their coaches for them. And I remember one of the American guys telling me that one of the things that made me good at what I did was that I was dumb as a stump. And what he meant that in the nicest possible way. And that was that I keep things very, very simple. And so today, what you're going to see is how simple an effective plan is. I'm going to show you my actual marketing plan. And don't get too excited because there's not much to it. But it's effective. And it's the marketing plan that so far to date, I just signed up the 38th this morning, SaaS plan at $900 a month from this marketing plan. So my goal is 250 this year. I've got 38 down. I've got 212 to go. So the first thing I will say about a marketing plan is you do need to have a goal. Now, I did put together a presentation. I will openly say I used Manus to help me put the slides together. So still took a while. But essentially, I'm going to go through those slides. But if you've got any questions at any time, yeah, just add them in, and I'll just share with you what I'm doing and what's working and my whole thinking around marketing. So let's get this screen shared. Should let me share the screen, I think.
Should be good to go.
Okay, I'm going to share. All right. So what happened to my chat? And I want to move those over here. I just want to make sure I can still see the chat at the same time. So I'm moving those. Share screen two. Hopefully you can all see this.
Yep. All
Ben
good.
and Manus do a good job.
Looks awesome.
So the whole idea of this, what I find happens is that, especially as entrepreneurs, and I was guilty of this, is you see something amazing, and being in groups like this is really one of the reasons why it happens a lot, right? Because you hear amazing things, and then you go away and you try and implement everything, and you try and implement everything at once, and you do it all half-assed, and what you end up with is a dozen strategies or five strategies or whatever it is, with a whole bunch of things that haven't been 100% completed. And so, what I am really big on is making sure that if you're going to do something, is that you do it well and then move on to the next thing. I've lost my slides to move through them. Is this going to let me move through them? No. How do I move through my slides? Oh, there we go. So The first thing is you're a person that puts everything in one basket. You've probably heard that saying before, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I never rely on one channel ever because before I had this, in fact, the whole SaaS agency came around by mistake. I was invited as a speaker to the high level event that was run by Growthable back in 2023, I think it was. Ryan invited me to speak. I went there and spoke about business because my background is business coaching. Since 2001, I've coached thousands of businesses. I had the largest business coaching business in the world for that franchise. We had 48 in our team at one stage. We were turning over millions and millions of dollars, and so I've done a lot of speaking on business. I was invited to speak about business, but I always love to stay and listen and see what the other content is there because there's always great speakers at these events. And I was sitting there listening to all these people getting up talking about SaaS and how they get all this monthly recurring revenue. I've got to be in that, right? So that's how I ended up being in SaaS. But prior to that, having coached many businesses, what I see is too many people that had businesses where they had a marketing strategy that was working well that all of a sudden stopped working for whatever reason. And in my agency, I've even seen that in my marketing agency, which is what I had before the SaaS, which is why we were using High Level, was just to manage our agency clients. And I bought an agency about 10, 12 years ago that came up available. It was essentially once again, it was a mistake. I do a lot of things by mistake, but we were coaching our clients and they needed help with marketing. And just like us, they struggled to find an agency they could rely on to do their marketing. So we started our own. We started just working with our clients, and then I ended up hiring someone or buying an agency so I could hire that person to manage the agency. And that's sort of how I got into it. But even then, I saw clients that really heavily relied on Google ads or really heavily relied on Facebook ads and just that one channel. And they'd get their Facebook account banned for some reason. And then all of a sudden, all hell would break loose because I don't have any leads. So the whole idea of the way that I build a marketing plan is I look for 10 different strategies as a minimum. So you'll see in my plan, I've actually got about 13, but 10 at a minimum, and each of those has to bring in at least 10% of the leads in my mind, right? You need to be able to break it up. So if something stops working, then you've got other channels that'll continue to deliver leads. And if you want to reliably build a business, you've got to have a reliable lead source. Because if you think about business, the very first thing that needs to happen is you need to generate qualified leads. Without those, it doesn't matter how good you are at building automations. It doesn't matter how smart you are with high level. It doesn't matter how well you look after your customers. None of that matters. And you've probably seen other people or heard from other people say, I don't know how they succeed because their product sucks. I do it much better, but geez, their business is so much bigger. And it's because what they don't suck at is marketing. And so I'm a marketer first. I've always been a marketer first. I'm a salesperson second because that's the second skill you need to know. And the delivery side, I always try and get somebody else to do because that's time consuming and it's not a good use of the time of a business owner, in my opinion. So you want to make sure you've got a system for generating many, many ways of getting leads. You've been 10 simple marketing channels, one fails, the other 9 keep working, and away you go. You don't lose it. To date, I'm booking anywhere between 5 and 10 demos a day. My conversion rate's about 40%, and it's going really, really well. And I'm going to share with you exactly how we're doing that. It's funny, I had a message was from you, Robert, yesterday or the day before. And I didn't connect the dots that you were in this group. Actually, I thought you were from my past life. That's why I was asking you, were you in this group? So I thought it makes sense, you'd be in this group, but he's already in this group. And he asked me if I'd have a look at some of his marketing. And I said, it actually doesn't matter what I think of your marketing. And I learned this lesson a long time ago. I had a client when I was coaching, one of my very first clients, they did bathroom reglazing, which is where they come in and instead of replacing the tiles and the sink and whatever, they spray it with a synthetic porcelain and make it look new again. Anyway, back then I was reading all the books and doing all the courses and learning how to write copy and headlines and offers and all this stuff. And I remember telling them that their ads sucked and that, I didn't think they were very good. And they said, well, why don't you, write some ads? I said, yeah, let's do that. I said, I'll write 3 ads. You write 3 ads and we'll run them together and we'll see how much my ads smash yours. Well, didn't I have egg on my face? Because guess whose ads performed better? So the reality is that the market will tell you how good your ads are. And what you need to understand is not how good is my ad in or any of my marketing strategies, but is my marketing strategy reaching my objective? So the first question I always ask myself is, how much am I prepared to pay for a customer? Now, the way you work that out is you go, okay, what's the lifetime value of my customer? So for me, let's call it 900 for easy maths, 900 times 12. Okay, so straight away I go, whatever that is. I can't even do maths. I failed maths at school. But anyway, you could work that out, 9 grand or whatever is a year. I go, okay, to 9 grand, what are my costs? Well, I got to pay high level. I got to pay for the unlimited AI. I've got some other costs. You take those out, and then I'm left with what's called my gross profit per customer. And I'll say, how much of that am I willing to give up to buy the customer in the first place? Now, with monthly recurring revenue, I'm pretty much willing to give up the first month or second month even of revenue just to get the customer. Because not only are we building monthly recurring revenue in an MRR business, we're also building value, right? Because the resale value of a business with MRR is much higher. So you've got to decide what that number is for you. I can't tell you what that number is, but that's how I work it out. So when it comes to marketing, I go, well, I'm happy to spend, let's say it's a month's worth of revenue, $900 to get a customer. That now sort of helps me decide when I'm running a strategy, how much do I need to pay per lead maximum, and what does my conversion rate need to be? So let's say my conversion rate is really bad, it's 10%. Well, if it was 10% and I need 10 leads from my $900, that's $90 a lead. So straight away, you've got your lead acquisition cost target. If your conversion rate's double that, let's say it's 20%, then your lead acquisition cost target's 180 because you don't need as many leads, right? So all of a sudden you start to work out, how much do I need to spend to grow my business? And business is really simple, right? If you have got marketing that works, when I had my coaching business, everyone used to say to me, what are you doing? How are you getting so many customers? And we would sign up, like, even to this day, I see people struggling to get coaching clients. We'd sign up 20 in a month, no problems. But I had 14 telemarketers. And I knew that an average lifetime value of a customer was 14 months at $2,200 a month. And I would happily give away the first 2 months if I had to buy that customer. It never cost me that much. My acquisition cost was usually about $900. But it makes it much easier, me more comfortable to throw that money at marketing if I understand those numbers. So that's the first thing, right? So understand what you're prepared to pay to buy a customer, because that's what marketing is. You're buying customers for your business. Does that make sense? So the way that it works, each strategy builds on each of the other. I mentioned before that you'll try 5 things. And even after today, you might see some of the strategies I'm going to share with you that I'm doing and go, geez, I'm going to do all of those. Just do one and get it working really, really well. If you're already doing one, just get it working really, really well. So if you've got your Facebook ads up and running, just get it working really, really well. Okay. And when I say that, get it working so you're getting your lead acquisition cost on or below the target you've set. Okay. So if you know your conversion rate is 25% and you need 4 leads for 4 demos to close one, and you might need 10 leads to book 4 demos, 4 demos might lead to 1 customer, then you know what your lead acquisition costs can be, okay, based on those numbers. And you really need to know those numbers. It's no good asking other people, what do you think I should pay for marketing? How much of money should I allocate to it? Only you know that number. What are you prepared to invest to grow? It's like me saying, well, if I'm going to buy shares, I only want to pay this much to get this return. I've got to make that decision. No one else can, right? Same with an investment property, right? You'll only buy what you're prepared to pay to get the return. So marketing is an investment. Don't ever look at marketing as an expense. It is an investment. Of course, it's an expense if you don't check it, test it, and fix it. Like I think Jared said before, $2,000 at something and didn't come back to it. So you need to be you need to know what's going on. And that's the other thing I would say. If you are running campaigns, particularly digital campaigns, don't run too many at once because it will bamboozle you, right? Just run 2. A/B test 2 ads. That's it. Keep it simple. I'm as dumb as a stump. That's why I can only run 2 at a time. I can't manage 10 at a time. I like having 2. I see which one wins after 3 or 4 weeks. I then make another one and I play them off against each other again. I then make another one and I play them off each other again. And eventually you get something that just performs a bit better and you end up with really good, really good results consistently. The other thing with digital marketing is we see the ad fade, right? So sometimes their effectiveness reduces if you're doing digital. What you'll notice about my marketing plan when I share it with you is a lot of my strategies are not digital. And the reason for that is because there's so many of us out there now just pounding people with digital marketing that it's got, I mean, Facebook's disgusting. I don't know when the last time you're on your Facebook, but the amount of crap you get in your feed now, it's ridiculous, right? So, and it's noisy. And I always say to people with digital marketing, it's like the radio, it's interruption marketing. So unless you're doing Google ads, that's solution marketing. So someone's looking for a solution. Everything else you're probably doing is interruption marketing. So you're interrupting somebody's day. And so you've got to think about that very differently. It's no different to the radio or the television. The difference with a lot of digital marketing today is you can spend $5 a day, 10. You don't need a lot of money to do it. So you're not risking a lot, but you need to understand that you can't just spend a small amount and hope to get a good result. It's interruption marketing. It's the hardest type of marketing to do, interruption marketing. Solution marketing, on the other hand, is really simple. So if you know somebody has a problem and you can provide a solution and you can get that solution in front of them when they're looking for the solution, or alternatively, you can make them problem aware if they don't know they've got the problem and then show them solution, you're more likely going to get the sale. Okay, so that's really a big factor in my marketing. Now, this is my 10 channels. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Now, like I said, I've got a lot more than 10. Podcasting, I do a podcast. I've got a business podcast called Max Your Business. I had one called Business Brain Food that had over 500 episodes, but podcasting is really, really good if you want to reinforce yourself as the authority when you talk to a prospective customer. They can be good lead generators as well, but a bit more difficult than other things. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't have an AI podcast yet. I am in the throes of recording episodes, and it's going to be coming out in the second quarter. The strategy that Manus should have put on there was LinkedIn, but it didn't. Because our LinkedIn outreach is working really well, but I'll come to that in a second. But as I said, build one at a time, get really, really good at it. Now, these are all pretty straightforward. I'll go through them in a bit more detail. I know for those of you that have been on previous calls, we are doing direct mail right now. Direct mail is working great for us. And I'm a big fan of doing things that invoke curiosity. I've built all of my businesses using direct mail. I remember in the early days buying 100 arms off of a mannequin. Now, I don't know if you know what a mannequin is. It's the doll they put in windows of clothing shops. I bought 100 arms and I sent via courier an arm to the top 100 businesses I wanted to deal with. And it was a left arm, not my right arm. And I said, I would give my left arm to have a meeting with you. Okay. I'm old school from that perspective. But how many bookings do you reckon I booked out of 100 arms? I booked nearly 40. I think it was 37, 38 meetings. So, it had a very, very high conversion rate. So I learned early on that sometimes you've got to zig when everybody else zags. Spend a bit more because it cost me a lot more to do that. I was then coaching a guy that had a business that did disaster recovery planning. And he was struggling to get through to these key decision makers of big organizations, right? Like he was targeting the top 500 organizations. And I said to him, well, let's do something different. Let's send something to them that lands on their desk that makes them really think about it. And so we got fire extinguishers made. Now they were empty because you couldn't it was dangerous goods if they were full and they were moved around. I don't know what the rules are these days. But we had these fire extinguishers made up, and we had fire extinguishers delivered to CEOs of big organizations. And it cost a lot of money. It cost about $40 back then, which is, I'm talking, 15, 20 years ago, $40 to get one of those delivered, but it had the CEO's attention. And it was all about not having to put out the fire, not needing a fire extinguisher, have a disaster recovery plan. And as a result of that, he signed up the M7, M2, all these, the Transurban, whatever that company is. It was $1 million deal, multi-million-dollar deal, right? So sometimes spend a bit more on getting your message in front of the right people, make them problem aware, and then they'll look for the solution. And of course, they'll see you as a good idea because you've been proactive. So direct mail works fantastic. It seems to be working even better in this day and age, and it's not cheap to do. It's $1.70 just for a bloody stamp. And when I say it's not cheap to do, I showed Robert my letter yesterday. Have I still got that here, actually? But it's very simple. It's just printed on an A4 bit of paper. It's just black on white. It's a couple of snippets of testimonial with a strong headline. We test different headlines. I have got some here actually. Yep. So this that's a headline. I don't know how well you'll see that, but it just says, imagine if every call to your shop was answered, even when you're flat out, and you didn't need to hire anyone to make that happen. So that's just an A4 piece of paper folded into DL. On the A4 piece of paper, and I've shared this before, is a card that's stuck on there that looks like it's the thickness of a credit card. So when they receive the envelope, it feels like a credit card in there or some sort of important card. And so that's that whole philosophy is you've got to create some sort of curiosity so they want to open it. And you can put whatever you like. I don't mind if you copy that strategy. I bought those cards, by the way, on Vistaprint. They weren't very expensive. I think I paid about $800 for 2,000 of them. And then the thickness of a credit card. So, once again, if you understand what your target acquisition cost per lead is and target acquisition per customer, it's much easier to spend your money when it comes to marketing. So direct mail, cold call follow-up. So we are calling people as well that have rang the demo or have not rung the demo. So I've got sales assistants helping with that. Facebook ads, you all know about Facebook ads. Facebook ads are pretty straightforward. Lead magnets. Lead magnets still work, but with a cold follow-up. Forget these stupid long ass funnels, honestly. I know a lot of people will probably be upset with me saying that, but I've tested them. Open rates for emails are reducing. The amount of emails people get are increasing. Calls get answered, SMSs get seen. So for me, you could spend your money just getting email addresses. I always put a phone field on every single lead magnet. And if you don't want to give me your phone number, you do not get my lead magnet. It's that simple. And the reason why I've done that is I've tested. I may not be good with numbers, but I test everything. I test absolutely everything. I can tell you it will cost you less to get a lead when you ask for the phone number, or less to get a sale, should I say. It'll cost you more to get a lead. It'll cost you less to get a sale asking for the phone number than if you don't, because you'll just have to keep emailing them. They'll never, ever see your emails because they go into spam or junk or something like that. Email marketing then is another strategy we use, but once again, very tactfully, very strategically. We don't just send out any old email. We, working within a niche, we make sure the message is going to resonate with the person that's receiving it. Sometimes the email is sent after they take an action. So for example, when somebody calls our AI demo, which I'll talk about shortly, which by the way is a lead magnet, an AI demo is a lead magnet. So a lead magnet doesn't have to be a downloadable PDF or some cheat sheet, or it can be a webinar. It can be a demo call is a lead magnet, right? The thing I love about a live demo call is that when somebody rings and our AI demo says, I just need to get your name before we start, and they hang up because they go, oh, no, I don't want to give them my name. We've already got their phone number. And because a lot of the people that are calling our demo, we're direct mailing, guess what? We already have all their details. So they're out of luck anyway, right? So we're on to them. So email marketing is really, and I have a philosophy with email marketing. You just keep emailing people 2-3 times a week with good, valuable stuff, but make it as if you're giving them money, right? A lot of people go, well, what do I email? Well, you don't open emails unless they're valuable, right? So if every single email you sent included a $100 Visa card, would they open them? Absolutely, right? So you got to work out, how do I work that into my messaging so that every email I send has the value of a gift card so they will open it. Industry events. Now, this is obviously only good if you're targeting a specific niche, or not. You could just include a niche in your targeting. But I'm a very big fan of finding a niche and then going where they are in their highest concentration. Every niche is different. I'm in the, working with the collision repair industry. So, for example, they have a publication called Paint Panel Magazine, which I was the host of their podcast for 3 years. So they didn't have a podcast. Thought, how can I reach more of their clients? And this was because we had collision coach as well before I started with the AI. So I said, let's start a podcast and I'll host it. I'll run it. I'll do the whole thing. My team know how to do it. They were like, yeah, sure. What did that do? Put me in front of their entire audience. I write an article for their magazine. They have an industry magazine I would never pay to advertise in it because I know it doesn't work. But writing in the magazine means that I've got authority and credibility when I talk to people in the industry. When I go to an industry event, people know who I am. I can walk around and say g'day, even if I'm not an exhibitor. So the Collision Repair Expo is on every 2 years in Melbourne. It's coming up this year in May. It'll be the first time I've taken a stand, the very first time. And I'll be giving away a voice AI, or what we call our Pro AI annual subscription, one of those worth $9,000 for the year, in return for people's details. All I have to do is get a QR code, scan it, and we'll get the details. We'll follow them up later. But I've already been invited to speak on a panel about how AI is affecting the industry. Okay, so, what do I actually know about AI? Not a lot, but just enough in front of everybody else to be able to get on stage and talk about it. Affiliate partners. This is a big one, and I think a lot of people miss this one. And with affiliate partners, it's not typically some dude with big round glasses and a smoky back bedroom in the States that's going to be your affiliate. Affiliate partners can be associations, buying groups, etc. So we go after professional groups and we go and talk to them. So if you think about the pain point for an association, you go to the association and go, well, what do you want? You want your members to get more value, right? So they'll stay longer because an association relies on memberships being renewed. So you want them to be able to stay longer. Some of these associations also need what it is you sell, right? So you can also, do contra deals as well to get in there. But the other thing that associations always need is money. So I always say, look, if you help us actively promote our service or our product to your database of members, we'll give you a percentage of every sale we make. And because it's a monthly recurring model, you'll get a payment every single month that they're a client. And they love it. They absolutely love it. So that's a good one. Referral program. Your biggest fans are your customers, right? So if you've got customers that are super happy, the first thing I do is I get them on Zoom and record a testimonial with them, so we can talk about not the product but the transformation. Because people buy transformations, they don't buy products, right? You see, the local, the weight loss company, they show you before and after photos because you're going to buy the transformation. You're not going to buy the drug that does it or the program or the exercise. No one actually wants to do any of that. They just want the outcome. And so I do that first. And then if they're really happy, then I'll say, who do you know who? I don't say, have you got anyone that you think might like my product? I say, who do you know who would benefit by using this system? Let's brainstorm 3 to 5 people. Now, years ago, I had a business called BizLinks. It was across Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and England. It was a franchise. We were a networking group. It was probably ahead of its time. And we had this thing called R Factor. It was where we measured referrals. Every member had an R Factor, and it was the only group of its kind at the time, because you had BNIs and BRGs and all. It was the only group that actually had online as part of it. And I can't remember if Tanya was actually a member. Tanya Allen's on this call. But anyway, we had these groups everywhere. And what we used to train our members was how to go and get 10 referrals. And the best way to do it is to say to your customer, do you want me to teach you how to get 10 referrals? Even though you're not in the business of referrals, you can do this strategy. Say to your customer, would you like to learn how to get 10 referrals for your business? Yes, great. Okay, well, I'm going to jump on a Zoom call with you. We'll need about half an hour to 60 minutes together, and I'm going to teach you how to get 10 referrals. Everybody will say yes to this, right? You jump on the call with your customer and you say, great, I want you to think of 10 people in your sphere, your contacts, who would really benefit by what I do. Let's do that list. And they'd write out the list of the 10 people. And then I'd say, great, now what I want you to do whilst we're on this Zoom call is you're going to get your mobile and you're going to ring each of those people and you're going to tell them that you're introducing me to them. Okay, so you're going to ring them right now and say, hey, I've got this amazing bloke I know called Ben. He's got this product that does X, Y, Z. I really think you'd love to hear what he's got to say. I'm going to get him to give you a call. I'm passing your details on to him. I can't tell you too much about it. I've got to go, but I'm just going to give you his details. Expect a call from him. Now, if they don't answer the phone, send it via text. Just let them know I'm going to call and then give me their details. Now, once you give me all 10 of those, I then say, guess what? I've just taught you how to get 10 referrals by you giving me 10 referrals. Go and do it yourself. And that's how we grew BizLinks. So it's a great strategy because it's a win-win. Your customer that you do the exercise with gets 10 referrals as well. And you just say to them, now pick 10 people you can ring and do the same thing with, right? Video content's a no-brainer. I've been doing video content. It just outperforms any other content when it comes to ads as well. As I mentioned, the podcast, but I'm going to replace podcasts with LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, because we are niche, I've got my VA going through doing 20 to 30 connections a day with people that are in my industry that I'm targeting because they're going to see my content. So as we post content up with testimonials, examples, etc., they're going to see it. All right. So that was a lot to take in, I'm sure. Now I'm going to actually just share with you my marketing plan. I just want you to see how simple it is. Okay. I don't want you to be disappointed with how simple it is. I just want you to see how simple it is. Can you guys all see that okay? It is a Word document that's not even a page and a half long. That is my marketing plan for what is, now over $1 million a year business and growing. Okay. And this is how I grow all my businesses. Even when I do 90-day plans, I teach people to do 90-day plans. I do it on I've got a big art scrapbook, which is just A3 pages, and I handwrite it in pencil. Okay. It does not have to be complex for it to be effective. And in fact, the more complex it is, the less effective it can be. So I look at this every day. It's open on my computer every day, and it just says exactly what it is we're doing. The highlights mean we're working on it. The stuff that's highlighted is not. The green means it's done or it's being done. If it's been given to somebody, you can see if somebody's doing it. it's highlighted green. So it's just a very, very simple system, but that is my marketing plan. Okay. And I don't mind sharing that with you guys because it's just, it's not rocket science. Marketing is not rocket science. A lot of people overcomplicate it. And it has all of these things on here. I've sort of gone through those already. The direct mail we're just sending 200 per week with one of those demo cards attached. Out of those 200 pieces, we're getting about 20 calls in to our demo agent on average per week. Out of those 20 calls, we're booking anywhere from 4 to 8 demos every week. Oh, we've jumped ahead. We do the cold call follow-up if we get time. I'm about to hire a second sales assistant because the first one's not coping with all the leads that are coming in now. By the way, not all 10 of my strategies are up and running yet. I don't know if you noticed that on that plan. Some of those things weren't highlighted because I'm practicing what I preach. So you can see that's sort of the double touch points. You can see we've got Facebook ads running. The Facebook ads are pretty simple. We've just, like I said, I only ever run a couple at a time. This is the one that is outperforming everything else right now. It is a live call recorded between one of my staff and the bot. I don't know if you can hear it or not because I can't hear it, but you might be able to hear it. No, but it is a live call. And essentially all it is us ringing a demo we've got set up, pretending to book a car in or do something. And then what we have on here is the number for the demo. Okay, so if you are selling voice AI and you do not have a demo set up, make that part of the thing you do in the next couple of weeks, because until we had the demo set up, it was hard to sell. As soon as you have the demo set up, and just make sure it works really well and have people calling it, pick a good voice, make sure you spend a lot of time tweaking all the little parameters so it works well. And I can tell you now, when people talk to this, they are amazed. They just want to buy it. And I don't sell a CRM. I don't sell high level. I don't sell automations. I don't sell anything else. I just sell voice AI. And then I say, by the way, we call it our Pro AI because it has more than just voice. It has reputation management. It has chat AI. It has AI for building workflows. It has, so we talk about all the other stuff, but most of them just use the voice. That's all they use. Okay. And so I sell it for $8.79 a month. I can even show you the landing page for that so you can see how simple that is. This is it here. So I actually just sell the AI employee who works 24/7, never takes a sickie. That's what I sell. That's the frustration for most businesses. And it's all about taking calls. The difference with this in this niche is I know the person that runs the most popular software company for that industry, the body shop management software. He has about 2,000 shops out of 3,800 shops in Australia because he doesn't have an open API. It took me a year to get that up and running. But with that connection, this is it. That's my pricing. I don't mind just seeing my pricing. No one buys these two. They all want the voice AI. And pretty much all they want is the voice AI. I charge just a one-time setup fee of $6.99. That is now, thanks to Michael Dooley, going into our marketing fund every time we get it. Beautiful. Thank you, Michael. A few example calls, because what I learnt was not everyone is confident enough to call a demo. They're not sure, what will I say? All right, just listen to some common call types. A video from me looking a bit silly. I like that Jared used that and it gave me a huge bicep in that AI picture. And that's it. And just what you'll get, how it works, and that's it. On here, the call to actions are pretty simple. Book a demo or call it a demo agent. Okay, that's all you want. Everything else just goes down to parts of the page. And this, yes, is built in high level. So that sort of gives you that as a bit of an idea. Very, very simple. But not many people see that page, by the way. We're not sending traffic to that from our Facebook ads. We get them to call the demo. Works better. Email marketing, we have got a database that we've had built and we've cleaned. We've uploaded that. We've built a custom audience. So a lot of our ads wouldn't surprise me if you don't see them ever, because they are targeting, most of it is targeting custom audiences, which is much more effective, as you know, because you're targeting the database. The thing is, they're seeing our ads, they're getting our calls, they're getting our direct mail. They're going to see us at the expo. They hear us on podcasts. It starts to all come together. I don't know if you've heard of the 7-11-4, which is if you go and Google that, it's the whole study that Google did several years ago. It's 7 hours of content over 11 touch points with 4 different locations before someone makes a buying decision with an online purchase on average. Okay. So that means they need to watch 7 hours or be engaged with your content for 7 hours. So that's why I really build my process out to try and deliver them as much content as I can through every different platform possible. I need 4 different platforms or 4 different locations: email, could be a Zoom call, could be a video, could be a podcast, whatever. But it's really important to do. The other thing is then the industry events. I don't just go to the events, I try and become a speaker. So if I know an event's coming up, I will send them an email and say, hey, I'm heavily involved in the AI space. It's a pretty wild space at the moment. A lot of people are wanting to learn about it. Are you open to having a speaker? I normally charge $7,500 for a 1 hour speaking slot. However, if you allow me to make a very soft pitch at the end, I won't charge a cent. Who do you reckon jumps at that all the time? Yeah. Now, the odd person has paid me $7,500, by the way, which I'm 100% okay with. But most people go, I'll take the free option. Now, I do get them to cover costs, accommodation and travel, so it costs me nothing. And they allow me to make a soft pitch at the end. And typically all it is some lead magnet where I get their details. I don't try and sell at events. I just give value and say, hey, I've got this guide on how to put AI on this or do something. Do you want to download it? Here's the QR code. Okay. So really simple when it goes to industry events. Affiliate partners, I talked about that. This is a couple of mine. Carcraft is a buying group. So this is a buying group that nationally has only about 160 members. Now, I shouldn't say only, but because out of 160, we have about 30 of them as customers, right? So it's a very, very strong way to build customers because you're partnering with a buying group. And the way a buying group works is you give a rebate to the group that goes back out to the members. Okay, so you just have to be prepared to do that. Once again, it's about understanding your acquisition cost. Patent Panel is an industry magazine. So look for industry magazines. They're still out there and they still get read. They still get distributed, even though you're probably never going to read another magazine as long as you live. They're still being circulated out there. But it's not so much the magazine. I like to work really closely with the editor of the magazine, who I'm very good friends with. And if I have a webinar, I go, hey, would you mind promoting my webinar? Or, do you want to do a special on AI? I've got an article. And that's who has invited me to speak at the that expo coming up as an AI expert in a panel on stage in front of 800 people, okay, that are all going to be in the industry. So pretty exciting stuff. And then any other industry organizations. So if there are associations, organizations, whatever it might be, get amongst them because that's where you'll get a lot of traction. Just think about where is my target market in its highest concentration. Right? If I was a baby photographer, I'd want to be where new mums were, right? So you've got to work out where they're going to be in their highest concentration, and don't water that down. It's something that you should take seriously in working out. But I love partners because, as I said there, it transfers trust like a referral does. I talked about referral program. You can incentivize existing. I don't really incentivize existing customers, but you can. You can do all sorts of things with the referrals. They don't know that they're going to get something from me, but if I do get a referral, I then give them credit in their account towards digital marketing services. So we work in our digital marketing part of our business. We work on a point system where basically our customers buy a set amount of points per month, depending on what level they're in, and then they use those points to buy things or services. So really important to have a good program, but I don't promote that they're going to get that. Okay, I just get the referrals. Video content, regular videos, demo walkthroughs. I don't need to tell you what to do there. Just do whatever you can. What I will say is don't ever think your content is not good enough. It can be so simple. It can be just a screen grab of something really simple. Here's what happened to me the other day. I shared that video of a call that we'd recorded on my personal Facebook page. The person who owns the largest software company that I mentioned, that friend of mine, who's a friend of mine, saw it and forwarded it to one of his customers that has 16 shops. That guy then said, can you do an intro? So I got an email from him saying, hey, this guy wants to talk to you about AI, and we've just installed it in his first of 16 shops. That's the power of a 1 minute something video that I wasn't even in. So you don't even have to be in the video, right? Really important. Podcast, we spoke about that a bit before. But yeah, so essentially that's my 10 by 10 system. As I mentioned before, we're doing LinkedIn pretty aggressively now. We're not doing any outreaches yet. We will be, where we're getting encouraging people to ring the demo. But the main thing I'm doing is sharing the content that we're creating about AI in front of my target market that we're connecting with. So we're just connecting with people that are in the collision repair industry. And we're just saying, hey, notice we've got some mutual connections. I've got enough connections now that I've got lots of people that have mutual connections. So the message just says, hey, just notice we've got a few mutual connections in the collision repair industry. Love being connected to movers and shakers. Would love to connect, something like that. I don't even know what it says. My VA does it. And yeah, we're getting connections, right? And from that, we're now getting messages from people, asking about AI, but we're definitely getting calls. This is the other thing we do is we've set up different phone numbers for different marketing for the AI bot, so we can measure where the calls are coming from as well. So you know what marketing is actually being effective. What else was I going to share with you? I think that's all I've got to share with you. That's the end of the slides anyway. So I can take some questions. Hopefully you found that helpful. Yeah. Anything you want me to share? Anything you want more in depth?
Bloody
Happy.
awesome.
That was
Absolutely
really
awesome,
good,
man.
Ben.
All right, let's have a look through these questions.
We've got one question at the top here, Ben. Tara's asked if the slides are going to be available afterwards.
Happy to make them available, yeah. Yep.
Awesome. And then we had a question from myself. How do you find a vendor that does your mail outs? And then not only that, the people that are helping you do your mail outs the traditional way, how are you finding the contacts? Is it something that they have a list to reach out to, or how do you work that?
Yeah, so I hired a freelancer to make my list. So I told them what I wanted, what details, and they used whatever they use. I'm pretty sure there's people within this group that have got tools that will probably do it, like White Label Suite, I'm pretty sure that's what that does. But yeah, I just hired a freelancer before I'd met those guys and to create a list. And then I just paid a freelancer at the beginning of this year to make sure that list was accurate and clean, update the numbers, and add in for me, did they have a website or not? Because of course, one of our levels includes templates. So we have built 3 industry specific templates. So yeah, building lists is one of those things where I believe the easiest ways these days is to find someone to scrape data from online, however you do it, or use AI. Use those tools that are available, but I don't want to do it myself. So I go, well, how much is it going to cost me? I just put that into my marketing expense and go, I'll pay someone else to do it. It's not something I'm good at. It's not something I don't want to learn some new tool. So I just go, I need to find someone who can do it. And I just was very clear about what data I wanted. I then had a team member check the data we did a test mailer of 60 mailers in the beginning to make sure that the addresses were going to be right, the contacts were going to be right. And that's the other thing, just test stuff. I know Jared said at the beginning, he had a valuable lesson, blew $2,000. Just test stuff. There's no reason why why you need to just go full ball from the beginning. We can test stuff so easily now on a small scale. And we tested 60 mail outs before Christmas to the first 60 of the database. And the reason it was only 60 was because I only had 60 cards left. And those 60 cards were left from an industry event I went to, just left over. So they didn't even have the new test number on them. But we knew that we were asking where they came from, or we knew that because of where they were in our database. So we tested 60. We had 18 calls come into our demo out of 60. I went, you beauty, look at that, 30%. Now, it hasn't stayed at 30% for whatever reason. It's more like 20%. That's okay. But it's still, if you're testing and you know it's going to work, then you can go all in. Now, having said that, do you also mean who I get to do the mailers themselves?
Yeah. Like, is it kids on scooters, or do you have someone that you're paying that isn't on a scooter going out and doing
so embarrassingly, after I said I don't like doing much work, I've been doing them this quarter. So I have got sitting there right now another 200 envelopes to stuff. Before we came back to work, because I didn't start till late January, I printed all the letters and I folded them all and I stuck all those little cards on. So that's why I've got a stack of these sitting around, and I'm stuffing the envelopes, I'm putting the stamps on, and I'm sending them. The only reason I did that was because I wasn't sure exactly what my ROI was going to be. For next quarter, I've found a place in Newcastle that's a fulfillment house. And what they will do is they will do the whole lot. I've just got to provide the cards. Now they're going to charge me $1 a piece plus postage. Okay. So, that's why I didn't go with them this first quarter. I said to them after getting the quote, you know what? I'm just going to do it in house. And the only reason is you're asking me to add another $2,000 onto a campaign I haven't tested. Yes, I got 60 calls, but at that stage we hadn't even got a client out of it. So, sorry, I got 20 calls out of the 60 we did before Christmas. So until I know what return I'm going to get out of the strategy, I'm very careful about how much I chuck into it. And it's good therapy. It's like I'm in a shoulder workshop folding all my envelopes. Yeah.
It feels like when I'm doing review cards, and I get a new review card sale, and then it's like, all right, out comes the sweatshop approach. It's like grab out the envelope, grab out the stamp, grab out the
Yeah.
card, put it all together, to then
Yeah.
sit on the bench for my wife to take out to do the mail outs the next day. So no, I appreciate that. It's good insight to know how that works. Craig, did you want to unmute yourself and drop your question in here that you asked?
Yeah, sure, Ben. Jared, Ben, I think you mentioned a client that had multiple locations. I
Yes.
just did one the other day, and I'm not sure if I went the right approach or not. So, because they were all branded the same, it was an audio hearing clinic. Because they were all branded the same, I said, "Oh, let's just pop it all in one high-level account, and we can split it up and run the 8 locations out of the one account." So then I just charged him my normal $6.97 a month and $100 extra for each of the additional accounts. So it sort
So
of
when you
doubled
say
the,
additional account, is that an additional AI bot?
oh, sorry, no, an additional location within the one account. So he brands them all the same. They're all effectively the same business. And I just wondered what's your experience been? Is that the right way to go about it, or do you split them up into different sub accounts, or and charge them
If
for each? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I leave that up to them to decide. So I actually, the way that I do it is with the AI voice is say to them, you've got two options. One is you pay 879 a month for the first one, and then you pay 330 a month for any additional shops or agents. So I don't care if it's
Yep.
attached to a shop or it's just you want another agent for something. You might want one that just takes care of bookings or whatever, right? So you can have extra agents. But if it's completely different to the other agent, yeah, it's $330 a month on top. I do have a $99 a month agent, but that is what I call a missed call agent. And the only reason we have that is if someone wants the calls forwarded. So let's say the AI agent answers the phone and says, I want to speak to Craig. And the AI agent goes, yep, I'll transfer you through. And then you don't answer your phone, your desktop phone. It then diverts to another agent that says, sorry, they're not available, but I can take a message. Now, at this stage, High Level has no way for the original agent to know who the caller was. So we just send it through to a second agent, and we charge 99 a month for that extra agent. So it's 330 if it's a whole location, 99 if it's just the missed call agent.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think I'm probably underpricing that. When you
I
get
think I'm
someone who's got,
underpricing.
yeah, when you get someone who's got multiple locations, an extra $100 per location is probably on the cheap side. Yeah.
One of the calls I did about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, and I had only been selling the AI voice for a short period of time, so I don't know how many had signed up. But I had this customer. I said, "What do you think?" Like always, how does that fit with what you had in mind? I love sales, and I always wait for what they're going to say. Are they going to give me an objection? Are they going to do? He said, "Hang on a minute," and I thought, "What is he doing?" I could see he was doing something on his desk. What he was doing was calculating, and he said, geez, that's only $1.22 an hour. I said, what do you mean it's only $1.22 an hour? He said, when I divide your monthly fee by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because that's when the agent's available, it's only $1.22 an hour. I'm going, you're right. It's only $1.22 an hour. He said, well, I got to pay people like $35 an hour to do that job or $40 an hour. So, it made me realize that sometimes, and I think Leon said it last week, actually, he was talking about the value, might have been Leon, but I think we do undervalue the value that we can deliver with these solutions, right? So even if it's something like, if you're doing local Google reviews, a shop that has really good reviews coming in on a regular basis not only gets better local SEO, but more customers will buy from them. What's that worth to them? The other thing I ask people, say, how many calls do you get a day and who's answering them? And when you're answering them, if it's not someone dedicated to answer the phone, are they getting interrupted? And did you know that Mark McKinney, the psychologist who was the top psychological coach for the AFL teams down in Melbourne, He did a study and worked out it takes 23 minutes to get refocused when you get distracted. So it's if they're
Yeah.
taking 3 calls an hour that they shouldn't be, they're never focused on their actual job. What do you reckon that costs you? So it's huge value. Yeah. And I don't know what the right amount is, but at this stage, I'm having no problems closing people at those rates. So I would bring your 99 up to at least 300 to match me, if not go higher. Tell me how you go.
Yeah, and like at my single price at 697, it took me a while to get to that. I sort of was 497, 597, 697. I'm getting no resistance, and it's like I say to people, mate, that's less than $20 a day. You know,
Yeah.
you
We
can't
saw
buy
my
someone for
pricing.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Saw my
yeah,
pricing. It'll probably go up soon because it
yeah.
is just, I'm having no problems. Like I get onto, honestly, my demos. Oh, that's the other thing is I don't do demos. I just get on a Zoom call. I show them some stuff, but I learned early on that doing demos just exhausts people mentally and they can't make a buying decision. So instead, I just talk about what's your problem, and if I can solve it, will you pay me money? That's it.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, and they'll pay whatever if their problem's big enough. So that's what I said at the beginning about marketing is you really need to make your marketing needs to make your potential customer problem aware. That's what good marketing does. So it's never about how good you are. It's never good about how good your product is. It's about how bad their problems are. So you'll see with any of my marketing, it always starts with things like either imagine or are you sick of? And if you think of it, it was something I picked up from Billy Jean's marketing when I was in Dallas. He spoke about everything that has an ing on the end of it. That's what you're solving. Are you sick of answering the phone? Are you sick of answering the same old questions? Are you sick of dealing with this? So I find that people will pay a lot of money to solve a problem. I think about what
Mm.
we pay for root canal and what, just so we can keep a tooth. They charge us
yeah.
thousands of dollars, right? Because we've got a problem. We've got pain.
Well, there was a couple of other questions in there, I think, mate.
Yeah.
There is. We've got Brett. Brett, did you want to unmute yourself? And then I think Tim stuck his hand up after you. So we'll go Brett and then we'll shuffle over to Tim.
Hey, Ben. Um, yeah, my question is really about when you were building out your AI voice, did you have a cohort of people or was it your own experience or did you just build it and test it and go from there?
Yeah. So I had a client I was coaching and I just said, hey, I've got this really cool new thing. Can we test it?
Yep.
They hated it and it doesn't run in their business now. And that was probably because I set it up. But I'm one of these, I'm extremely curious. But I was the kid that took the radio apart that mum and dad bought me for Christmas and then couldn't put it back together.
Yep.
I'm extremely curious. So there's probably an upside and a downside. But yeah, so I built the very first AI. I built the whole process. But what I've learned is once I built it out and got it working so it was good enough for me to sell. I don't need perfect to sell. I just need it to work okay. Then I started hiring people to help me fix it to make it work better. And so we'd listen to a call, and if it sucked at something, I'd say we need to stop it sucking at that because that's important. Like it would say Rago instead of Rego. Now this was before they had the pronunciation rules baked into the thing. So we had to work out how do we get some American-based AI system to say Rego. Rego is Aussie slang, and then we listen. It says Z, not Z, and then it read phone numbers back like, so your mobile number is 4,000,1,100,800. Like, so that was what was happening when we first started. All that's gone now, by the way, with the updates they've
Yep.
done. But
Yep.
yeah, so that was that was a good question. But now I actually have a team of 3 people that are like just gurus with the AI stuff. Yeah. All
Okay.
contractors, by the way, that I've got on Upwork. Yeah. No
Yeah,
one
cool.
full time. Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Tim, jump in.
Yeah, Ben, are you just using the GHL AI tool? Are you
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah.
Because I've
I
seen some
really
really good
resisted.
ones, and I've had lately I've had like I reckon every single day I'm getting an AI voice outreach, and they're largely fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I just use the GHL and it works great. I
Okay.
think you just got to really spend a lot of time with the prompts
Yep.
and also with the customers to make sure that you've set their expectations as well. So they're not expecting it to be, because I always say to people, look, before the AI, who was answering the phone? And they'll say, I was Tim. And I go, was he perfect? Did he piss anybody off? Oh, all the time. Okay. So
Okay, so
AI
set a
probably
baseline. How do you, in terms of, you mentioned that you're prepared to give up, you've got your voucher to give away, the sort of onboarding, and you're giving up potentially 2 months to get the customer in the door in the first place. How much time do you spend on setup if you're not accounting for that as part of a cost?
Not a lot. So I use I use Growthable for
Okay.
onboarding, and then because it's the same niche, we've set up a snapshot and we just deploy the snapshot. We then modify we don't have to do much to modify the prompt these days. It works really well. And same with the actions. It's might take us, I reckon it would take us 2 hours to set up a customer. And the reason for that is because they don't use any of the system except for voice AI.
Hmm.
Takes us
So they're not
nothing.
actually locking into it at all.
Some do, but most aren't. They're just benefiting from the voice AI. So yeah.
Yep. Sweet. Thanks.
Awesome. I think Tanya had one. Oh no, Vit has one up the top here.
Same
Um,
question. Yeah, all through GHL.
all
Yeah.
through GHL. Vit, you're not at the table, mate. You look like you're away. You're probably having lunch or something.
Cooking lunch.
Cooking lunch. Get fit with Vit.
I remember when I first logged on one of these calls, I thought, is this the Vit Muller cooking show? What is this?
Yeah. He calls me on weekends while he's making lunch or breakfast. It's hilarious. Tanya, you've got a question here. Did you want to jump on and unmute yourself around it for the AI agents to improve?
Yeah. I've built quite a few AI agents, so I know what we do, but Ben, we've known each other for decades, so I'm keen to hear what you do. What are you doing on a monthly basis to improve the AI? You're getting on calls with your clients to get their feedback to go, oh, something needs to be tweaked. And what does that time period look like? Is it monthly? Is it just 90 days?
So for the first 30 days, we have someone monitoring pretty much every call.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a VA in the Philippines doing that. So it's pretty cost effective. And what they do is they flag any calls that they don't think went well with a thumbs down, as you can do, and they put the feedback in for I think it goes to GHL, but there's that mechanism so that we catch a lot of things early on if there's problems. The second mechanism is we have a support ticket structure. So if the customer gets bad feedback about something, they can submit a support ticket, and then we jump straight onto that.
What are you using for the support ticket? I know
We built it in GHL.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's I could probably find the YouTube link and send it to you. I just sent the YouTube link to my team a few months ago and said, build this because it's getting out of
that'd be
hand with
good.
people asking questions on email.
Yeah.
And what it does is we basically created a whole new sub account for support.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a couple of pipelines in there that they go through. So there's all the automations built in there. Yeah. And works really, really well.
After the support ticket, are you charging any more if all of a sudden 6 months down the track, a voice agent has gone rogue and now it's time to sort of optimize?
No. And what we do is if we improve one,
Mm-hmm.
and for example, the new pronunciation stuff came out, we went through every sub account and added in the pronunciation because what happens in a prompt, from my understanding from my software dudes, is that if the more you have in their instructions, the more confused it can get. So we had pronunciation instructions in there, and then it also had these new, baked in pronunciation instructions. So we went back through, we put the pronunciation in. And everything that because for us to get the bot to pronounce Reggio, we actually had to spell everything Redjoe.
Yeah.
Which meant even when the customers got summary, they got the word Reggio spelt like that. It looks stupid, right?
I
But
was
it's
the
what we
same
had to
with
do.
my name. Yeah. My voice receptionist is Steve, and I've had to say Tarnya, even
Yeah,
though
for
it's
Tanya. Yeah.
for Tanya.
Yeah. But now with the new pronunciate, those
Yes.
AIS things, you can tell it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've gone through and fixed that all. We don't tell them that we're doing that. The other thing, because we're in an industry niche, and Michael Dooley probably does the same thing. If we get a customer ask us, because we're in the collision repair industry, we had a customer say, "Oh, can we have some way of doing excess reminders? Because customers need to pay their excess before they can pick their car up if they've got an insurance claim." And so we built that for one customer. We then rolled it out to all the sub accounts. So it makes us look like the heroes. We're just building what somebody wanted to fix a problem and going, "Hey, look at this great feature we've just rolled out." And I think that's a good thing to do because your customers feel like you're continually, evolving. And same with our software connection that we've got. Every time we update the way that works, they get more excited about it because they're getting extra value for free. But we tell them as part of our promise, if you look at my landing page, that part of the promise is that you'll get any innovations that come out down the track, so long as there's no external third-party costs.
Is anyone hounding the pavement for the outbound?
We've just started doing it.
Yeah.
It's a bit complex, to be honest with you, to get the consent from a customer to do the outbound. So you can hack the system, but I'm pretty sure that'll get us all in trouble if we do. What we're doing with customers is, because part of our workflow with that is when a car moves through the repair stage, customers can be updated through our automations and they can choose SMS or email. Now we're adding out by like, do you want to call from our AI employee? Now, not many people are choosing that, but if they do that, they then tick the consent box and then they can get the call. Yeah, but I don't know it's going to be easy to use because you have to get explicit consent in the same workflow.
Yeah.
You can't get consent a month ago and then start a new workflow. It just won't make the call.
Yeah.
No, still a bit clunky.
Cool. Thanks, Ben.
It's all right.
I still think with AI and Dooley are probably back me 1,000,000% on this, but I think text through AI is far more powerful than voice as far as conversions are concerned with getting people through and qualifying them for appointments and things like that. Whereas outbound, I think that the moment people pick up that it's AI, they don't connect like we do. Whereas when it's text, it actually still, because you're not picking up that it's AI right away, you're kind of buying in on that, which I find super interesting.
Yeah. But with our text updates out, we actually, in our workflows, we have it say, any questions, just hit reply, because the AI agent is on the text as well, right? So, and they don't know that. They think it's a human.
Yeah.
In that context. Yeah.
Yeah. Super powerful. I didn't use it much. I focus more on the voice to start off with. Absolutely lean the complete opposite way now. I just, we've got an event next week, 3 expos in Tassie, and now we've been running it in our ads, but now making sure we've got an AI chatbot lined up the moment that they submit their details to start booking the appointments for me, the moment they put in their details. But 18 months ago, I wouldn't have even thought of that. I would have been looking at how I could integrate voice AI to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, super powerful. Robert was mentioning before he jumped off as well, guys, that you can use Manus to scrape some details, which I think someone sent me a reel on that a little while ago about that, and it looked like it was relatively simple, even though I don't use Manus. Tanya, we've answered your questions. We've got one here about some info on the support system you have set up. We probably don't have time to go through that today.
I can share it in the group. I'll find the YouTube video we used. We just use that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Bern went, Rob went, Craig. I think that's everything. Guys, did you have any last minute ahas, shares, questions that you wanted to jump in and pop in here? It's great to see you all on here. Some new faces as well, which is always nice. No, we're keen. You've exhausted it, mate. Can I just say, because I don't want to jump off the call without saying it, absolutely awesome call today, Ben. Like I have taken so much from that, and thank God we fitted all of this into a recording, because I feel like I was just drinking from the fire hose at one point. I just went, oh my gosh, I don't know where to go with this. But the simplicity, the reminder, the reminder that came out of that for me was focus on that one thing, get that one thing going really good, and then start looking at those other opportunities after that. And I think that it's very easy to get that shiny object syndrome where you're like, oh, and now there's this one, and now there's LinkedIn outreach, and now I'm going to start ripping off mannequin arms inside Maya and giving it to people, right? But it's coming back to that, and just focusing on getting something to work really well. And I say this to so many people, and I just love that you're reminding me of that, even though you're showing the 10 times strategy. And this has been super valuable, and we really appreciate you being part of the community and being able to share what you have today, mate. Just being in the community, I think, is invaluable.
But that's it. I love it. So that's why I'm happy to give back. I think these things are so powerful, and really hats off to you guys for starting it off, because you know, I was thinking to myself over Christmas, I've got to get myself into some sort of group. And then this popped up and I'm like, that's my group.
Love that.
I found my tribe.
Found our
So
people.
thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope you did get some value from it. Like I said, I know everyone's at different places and I'm super passionate about marketing and I think that helps. I love growing businesses and you know, if I want to nut this one right out and I'll just keep nutting it out. And if I get any other good wins or any other strategies I think works well, I will definitely share them with you.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. And Vit's purposely got himself unmuted with his meal. So he clearly wants to share that before we jump off as well. What are you doing, Vit? What have you cooked up for us?
We're going for a double smashed cheeseburger and some what is it? The sweet potato fries.
Oh,
Yum.
that looks good.
I was listening to you guys as I was cooking, so I heard Ben talking about
cooking with Vit. I love it.
Awesome. Guys, look, we've gone a bit over, but I appreciate you all jumping on. We've got